and welcome to Yarnspirations. I'm Mary Beth Temple for Hooked for Life, and before we get too far along, please remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more content weekly on knitting, crocheting, and other yarny stuff. In this video, we're going to take a look at the Both Sides Now knit scarf. Now this is a luscious, dense alpaca scarf made with reversible cables, so your scarf looks fabulous on both sides. To make it, you'll need Patons Alpaca Blend 4 balls. We used the color Petunia, but you of course can use any color that makes you happy. You're going to need a size US 10 or 6mm knitting needles, or size needed to obtain gauge, and you're going to need a cable needle or a DPN. There are tons of different kinds of cable needles, so if yours doesn't look exactly like mine, not to worry. So this is a very quick knit, so let's take a look at this cable. What makes a cable reversible? As you may know from other cable projects we have done, the cables tend to be worked in stocking stitch with the right side of the stocking stitch on the right side of the work, and they tend to be worked in multiple legs. Remember, the leg is the number of stitches you move at once, and they tend to be an odd number. And they look terrific on the front, maybe not so hot on the back. But because these cables and other reversible cables are made in knit one, purl one ribbing, they look on the back pretty much the way they look on the front, which gives you a reversible look. And the other thing I want you to notice is not every time, but oftentimes, because they're worked in knit one, purl one rib, reversible cable legs tend to have an even number of stitches rather than an odd number. So this might be a little different than what you're used to, but don't worry about it. I promise it'll work. Now, again, I'm using these curvy cable needles because I think these are the easiest ones to use. If you drop them, they tend to not go very far. But you can use, there's a long one that has a bump in the middle. You could use a small pencil. You could use a coffee stir. You could use a double-pointed needle if you're a sock knitter or do other things in double-pointed needles, and you have one of those laying around, that'll work too. So we're going to put 8 stitches on the cable needle. Remember not to twist them. We are just moving them from one place to the next. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and dropping them to the back of the work. Now this is the first cable row, which is the 7th row. All the other rows you have knit up to now are knit one, purl one ribbing. So now my working yarn is here. I'm just going to bring it up here so I can work. So I've dropped those 8 stitches to the back of the work. It says knit one, purl one 4 times. So again, my working yarn is right there. I'm just going to bring it up. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now my next stitch is going to be a knit stitch. I'm going to knit off the cable needle next. So I want to get the yarn from the front to the back, because it was in the front because I had a purl. But I know my next stitch is going to be a knit. So now my working yarn is in the back so I can knit, and I'm going to knit and purl these 8 stitches off the cable needle. And the instructions say knit one, purl one 4 times. But I know that I'm going to do 8 because that's how many are on here. So knit 1, purl 1. So that's 1, 2, oops, I split there. Let's try that again. 2, 3, 4. All right, we can set our cable needle aside for a minute, and then it says knit one, purl one 4 times. So again, my yarn is in the front because I just did a purl, but my next stitch is a knit. So let's get that to the back. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there's what that looks like. Now we're going to do that whole ball game again. Move 8 stitches to the cable needle without twisting them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Drop them to the back of the work. Let's get this working yarn in the back because the next stitch is a knit. Knit 1, purl 1 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now knit 1, purl 1 4 times off the cable needle, so my yarn's in front. It's got to get around to the back so I can knit. One, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to knit 1, purl 1 4 times off the left hand needle. Now you might have noticed when I was working on the cable needle, I slid the work pretty far back, and that's just to make sure it doesn't pop off. It's not a deal breaker, but there should be 8 stitches left. 2, 4, 6, 8, and there's my knit 1, purl 1 4 times. Okay, so that is how it looks after that iteration of the 7th row. Now looking at the pattern, 9th, 11th, 13th, and 15th are the same as the first row. And 8, 10, 12, 14, and 16 are the same as the second row. And you might notice the first and the second row are the same. The reason they're written out differently is so you know which is right side and which is wrong side. And then we're going to look at the 17th row, which is the other cable row. All right, let's take a look at the 17th row, because in this row we're going to hold our cable needle to the front. So it looks a little bit different. So looking at the 17th row, it says knit 1, purl 1 4 times. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, now slip 8 stitches onto cable needle and leave at front of work. Again, remember, do not twist. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's slide these up a little bit. We're going to leave these guys hanging at the front of the work. Once again, get that working yarn to the back because our next stitch is a knit stitch. Knit 1, purl 1 4 times. 1, 2, sorry, that's still 1, 2. Forgot what I was counting there. 3, 4, 'Double check there. There's my cable needle. So that would have been 2, 4, 6, 8 stitches. That's right. Let's get that working yarn in the back. Now we're going to knit 1, purl 1 4 times from the cable needle. So I'm bringing the cable needle all the way over here. So that's 1, 2, 'Gotta make sure none of the stitches pop off. They really want to, because they're traveling a pretty far way, so they really want to jump off the needles, and you have to make sure you don't let them. Okay, that's my 8 stitches or 4 repeats of knit 1, purl 1 off of the cable needle. And that's what that looks like. All right, and we're going to do that one more time. So knit 1, purl 1 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, slip next onto the cable needle, hold them in the front of the work, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Leave them hanging in the front, that working yarn in the back. Knit 1, purl 1 4 times from the left hand needle. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, this guy's trying to pop out. See what I mean? They want to jump off, but you can't let them. All right, and then we are going to knit and purl these 8 stitches off the cable needle. Let's make sure I didn't lose any. Nope, they're all on there. So once again, get the working yarn to the back because the next stitch is a knit stitch, and you're going to pull this cable needle all the way over. One, two, three, these last two, one's on top of each other. They're both on there. They just got a little tight. So 4, 4. All right, so that is our 17th row. So you can see how the cables are building up. I love this cable. It is just luscious. Now, as before, the rows in between the cable cross rows, so the cable cross rows are 7 and 17. The rows in between are knit 1, purl 1 ribbing. I highly recommend you either get a stitch counter or a pad and pencil or M&Ms or whatever it is that you do to mark off rows, because you want to make sure that you have the same number of knit 1, purl 1 rows between the cable crosses, and particularly if you put your work down to go do something else, it's really easy to lose track of how many ribbing rows you have between the cable crosses. So I do recommend that you find a way to mark that so that you remember. So that's really all there is to the both sides now knit scarf. I hope you have a lovely time making this scarf and that you learned a ton about reversible cables. Please subscribe to the channel to get fresh content weekly on knitting, crocheting, and other yarny stuff. I'm Mary Beth Temple for Hooked for Life. Bye-bye.